Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Lightning Development Session 5. So, I hope you all are doing well and you all have learned basics of Lightning till now in my previous sessions. So, again, as we always do, let's recap our session 4 and let's see what we have learned in session 4. We have learned how to get attribute values in controller and how to set attribute values in controller. We have learned about the concept of aura id and why we use aura id, and how to set or how to get attributes of your lightning component using your aura id. Then we have learned about system events as well and how to handle them. And we did a brief introduction about how to debug your lightning component as well. And then again we had a small overview of SOQL queries. So this is something that you have to explore by yourself, as I told you yesterday. So this is a question for all of you, if you have completed session force exercise or not. And if you have completed, then one thing that I'm sure of, if you have followed me throughout the video, then you must have seen some error in your lightning component. So what that error is, that I'll show you. But apart from that, I told you guys to explore about lightning local services as well. So I'm not sure how many of you have done that, but if you have not done that yet, please go and google lightning local services and learn about that concept, because that is related to your lightning component security. Please do read about that. And the third thing that I want you to do, like I have shown you the data model of rent a car application. Please create your data model before we begin with today's lab exercises. So one issue that I came across in yesterday's session or yesterday's component development, which was intentionally put up like that so that you guys come up with that issue and debug using the lightning debugging skills. So one thing that you must have seen, like if you run your component here and you click on this toggle button, it shows up the new button, and if you click on it again hides it. But if you click on third time or fourth time, and maybe if you click on it again, it doesn't do anything. Why so? So this is something that I was expecting you guys to come up with and also come up with the solution. So for now, what you could have done, so like you could have debug your lightning component in such a way like uh, so so that you can find the issue here. So what you could have done, so in your toggle button code, you are sure like this particular code is breaking somehow. It is not setting the value of this attribute, and then again uh, this particular button, this attribute is being used in aura if. So somehow it is always getting false value here, and your button is not visible again. So that's why your button is not visible. So how can you debug it? So first of all, let's do one thing. Let's use first technique to put console.log here and see if your button, if your method is getting executed or not. So we'll do one thing. Method is executed. Let's save it. We'll just give 5 minutes to this debugging session, and then we'll move on with our today's agenda. So if refresh your page, right click and inspect, open your console here, click on toggle button. So you will be seeing something method is executed. That means your method toggle button method got executed. If you click on it again, it is showing 2 here. That means your method has been executed twice. So first time when we clicked on it, that was number 1, and if you clicked on it again, now it is showing 2. If you click on it again, the number is increasing. Now it's 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you notice the number here, let me zoom it out for you. Okay, I cannot zoom this one. So if you notice the number here, it is showing like your method has been executed 8 times. So there is nothing wrong with your method. It's being executed. There is something wrong with your component dot set line. So how you can identify what is going wrong here? So again, what you can do, after setting the value of this v dot new available, let's get the value back. So how you can do that? Create a new variable called, let's do it after if else, so that we will cover both the situation, both the scenarios. So where value equals to, let's get the value of component named as is new available component dot get. That's how you get the value. And then one thing that you can do, you can again display it in your console.log using console.log method, and then display your value like this. Save it, rerun your code. Did I put a debugger there? Do we have a debugger in doing it? Okay, we did add a debugger yesterday, I guess. Let me remove this debugger first. So if you click on this toggle button, so you will see the new value equals to true. That means your button should be visible now. If you click on it again, so now your new value is false and your method got executed. Again, if you click on it, so it is coming false again. So every time if you click on it, it is coming as false. So somehow your component dot set method is not working, or maybe you are not setting the value correctly. So, and the second way to debug this is, if you don't want to write console.log here, what you can do, you can pause your code in debugger like this, set a debug point here, refresh your code, click on toggle button. So now your code will be paused in debugger. So now what you can do, inside the watch point, you can add one more watch point to get this component value. So you can simply copy this line component dot get and add a watch point. So this will give you the current value of component dot get. So go to next step, let the code set new value here, and then we will get the new value after this. So now we are saying like, okay, it's true. So it has set the value to true in this component dot set method. And play it again, click on this toggle button again we are paused in the debugger. Now go to your next step and let the value set to false. Now we are seeing the value as false, and then play it again and click on this again. This time let's see what it does. So this should again make it false, because the your current your last value was your last value is coming as false, if you see here. And it's still going inside your if statement. So why so? Why it is going inside a if statement if it is coming, if your value is coming as false? So if you notice here, the false value is a string value, it's not a boolean parameter. So that's where the problem lies. So what we are doing in our code, so if you look at this line, we are setting a string here, we are not setting boolean parameter here. So if you remove these quotes from here and save your code again, let me remove this debugger and everything. Now we won't be needing it, because now your code should be working. Hold on, let that be in place. So I'll show you what value comes now. Instead of false, what do we see now? So if you click on it for first time, it works as expected. If you click on it again it works as expected. Now your button is not visible. Now if you click on it for the third time, let's see what is the value of current value. So if you want to see it inside watch point, just simply copy it, click on this plus icon here or plus button here, add this current value here and press enter. So now it is showing your current value is false. So now what it should go inside else condition and it should make it true again. So let's see if it goes inside false condition or not. Click on this next step over button, and you are coming in else section instead of if section now. and now it should make your attribute value to true, and then again it should display the button again. So this is how it's working now. So if you click on it, every time it will work. So this was the small mistake that we have done, and this is how we could have corrected it, and this is how we could have troubleshoot this problem. So I hope everybody understood this part, right? Do we have any questions so far? So let's move on with today's agenda now. So what we are going to cover today. So we'll be learning about server-side controller. We will be using your Apex code, and we will be seeing like how to make your Apex code available to use in Lightning component. So by default, your Apex code is not available for use inside a Lightning component. You cannot use it directly. There are some considerations that you need to follow to make it available for your Lightning components. Then we'll be seeing how to call your server-side actions. That again means how to call your Apex methods. Then we'll be seeing inheritance in Lightning. So I was talking about this since last 2 3 days, and then today we'll be covering. So Lightning also uses inheritance similar to other programming languages. So that means on the UI framework as well, you are getting the inheritance now. And in the end, we'll be checking up on four terms which are super, sub, parent, and child. What are these, and why do we call them this? We will be covering 3 lab exercises today. First of all, we will be fetching our car types from the backend. So I hope you guys have completed the data model and you have inserted few records inside car types. So we'll be fetching those records using our server side controller. Then we'll be creating a base lightning component to to use it to inherit your base component inside your sub components. So we'll be creating a base component for that, and we'll making it available to extend inside other lightning components as well. Then in the end, we'll be using inheritance to call your uh, same method again that we will be calling in the first lab exercise to fetch your car type. So in the third exercise, we instead of calling it directly from your helper function, we'll be using inheritance to call it. So these are the 3 lab exercises we'll be covering in today's session. So first of all, let's talk about server-side controller. So uh, what is it and why we use it? So server-side controller means your Apex code. So your Apex programming language is used to write your server-side code. It can be called from your client-side controller or helper to perform server-side actions like saving or retrieving a record. So that's why we use server-side controller. Uh, the Again, if you compare the performance of your server side controller with your client side controller, so let's say you have a init method in your client side controller, so that will be executed pretty fast because that runs on your browser side. That does not, the request does not go to your server to you know uh, complete that process or complete that operation. It runs on your browser itself. So that's why we are saying calling server side controller can be a bit slower because it involves sending a request to server and then waiting for a response again. So that's why we are saying like it they are a bit slower than your client side controller. Now again, as I told you, like you cannot directly call your server side methods in your lightning components. There are some consideration that you need to follow, and to make your method available as uh, to make your method available to be called from your lightning components, you need to use aura enable annotation. So this is the annotation called aura enable that you need to put just above your method, and your lightning component can then call this method to fetch the records or to do the operation. So to make your Apex controller function available for your Lightning app or component, you must explicitly annotate your function with Aura enable. This method can be either public or global and must be static. And then again, you need to specify your server-side controller name inside your component markup so that your markup will know from which server file or from which Apex file or which Apex class uh, this needs to, for from which Apex class it needs to fetch the data. So you can only give one Apex controller in a component. You cannot give multiple Apex controller here. It's not like the extension in Visual Force pages. It can be only one Apex class. Again, you can to perform your operation, you can further call another class from this particular class that you are going to declare in your component markup, but your markup will only accept one class at a time. Now, how to call a server side controller, or how to call a server side method? So there are 5 steps involved in it. First of all, you need to bind your controller with your component. So that means you need to give the Apex controller name or Apex class name inside your component markup. Second thing is you need to create an action for server side controller. So the action is something that will be creating in our client code. So action will be the piece of code that will be going to call your server side controller, and it will be fetching the data from here, and it will be showing you the result as well. So you need to create an action, then you can set the parameter in that action. So treat action as your client side method. So in this method you can set the parameter as well, and then you can enqueue your action. Not you can, you must enqueue your action. So why do we enqueue an action? So enqueuing means if there are simultaneously multiple requests are going to your server side controller, so what your Lightning framework will does, it will combine all those requests and it will be sending all those requests as a single request. So this will save you multiple round trips from your server to your client, and in a single request all of these actions can go to your server, and all of them can do their task there and again fetch the record for you, or fetch the result for you. And in the end you need to handle the response. So whatever the response you will get, either it is success or failure, so you need to handle the response that you will be getting from your server side controller. Again, I have explained about enqueuing action here. So enqueue action put your action in a queue, which helps in reducing the network traffic by batching multiple server side calls in one request. So let's say if 5 server side calls needs to be made from your client side controller, all of them will go in a single uh, request, and then you can get the response accordingly. So this is what we so so now this is our first lab exercise of calling a server side action. This is a big exercise, so we need to do some prerequisite to do this. uh, First of all, let's go inside our developer org and let's make sure we do have some car type uh, records available in our org. So let me see if I do have some of those or not. So simply search car type here. Let me click on all records. Okay, so I have 4 car types in my developer org, and let's compact, luxury, sports, and van. So these are the 4 records that I'll be fetching from server. So let's make sure that you also have these records in your developer org. You can name them whatever you want, but at least there should be one or more records in your car type object. The second thing is, we have written some code that we do not need, just to we have written that just for demonstration purpose. So let's remove that piece of code that we do not need, and also name our variable. Let's give them a meaningful name. So let's say is new available. Let me change it to show new. We will be needing car types for sure. Let's go, let's check our code line by line. We will be needing car types string array for sure. Again, on change we can keep it just to show like which option is being checked. In iteration, again we'll be using the same attribute car types to display the result, but now what we'll be doing, we'll be setting the car types value after fetching the records from server. We do not need this toggle button, so let's remove this toggle button. And in the end we have renamed it to show new. So let me correct this one. I'm just giving meaningful name here. And again, we do not need this else condition in our Aura, if because if the new button is not available, then we do not want to show anything there. So just let's remove it. And also we'll be writing a code to handle this show new code as well. So as I talked about like a Salesforce ecosystem in our session one, so your Lightning standalone application is similar to Lex experience, but there are some consideration about your standalone application. There are certain events which are not supported inside your Lightning standalone application. One of them is you cannot create or you cannot use your force colon create record event inside your standalone application. So if you want to know about force colon create record, you can simply go to your suite.app. So this is the event I'm talking about. So this event is not supported inside your standalone Lightning application. So what we are going to do, we'll be checking if this event is supported in current Salesforce ecosystem or current context or not. If it is not supported, then we will not show the new button. If it is supported, then we will show this new button. So let's complete this one first. Then we'll be, writing our server side code as well. So we have cleaned our marker file. Let's go in our controller file as well. Let this on search click button be in place. We do not need this toggle button code now. Let this new value selected as well, and we do have a do init method as well. Let me put this do init method on top so that it would be easier for me to read. Yeah. So what we are going to do, as soon as your component gets loaded, that means your initialization event will fire, your init event will be fired. In this do init method, we'll be checking if force colon create record event is supported or not. So how we can do that? You can simply create an event like this. So this will be the line of code that you'll be using to create a event or use an application event. So what we are doing, we are creating another variable here named create. Let name it as car record. So we'll be using this create car record variable to store the value of this application event. So here $A represents your application event, and from your application library you are getting which event? Force colon create record. So this is how you can get a event. And now if you want to see if this event is supported or not, you can simply put on a if condition and simply put your create card record inside if condition. So if it is supported, this create card record will return true and your if code will be executed. If it is not supported, then your else part will be executed. So what we are trying to do, if your create card record is event is supported or your force colon create record is supported, then we want to make this show new variable as true. So let's do that. uh, Use your component reference here, and let's call the method set to set the value inside the attribute. How we can do that? We need to use our value provider or view here, and then after that we need to specify the attribute name as well. And then again, what you can do, you can specify the value that you want to set here. So what I want to do, if it is supported, I want to make it true. But if it's not supported, so we will make it false. So this is a simple 4 lines of code to check if a force colon create record is available or not. If it is available, then what we can do, like we can also register an event, or we can create a on click event on your new method or new button, and then we can show a model window to create the record. Let's do that as well, but first let's see the output of this thing. Let me see if there is some error comes up or not. Let me refresh it. So what we are seeing in your standalone Lightning application, we are not seeing the new button here because that button is not supported here. How you can make sure if it is executing this line of code? You can again write console.log here and write event is not supported, just to give the user some message and reload it. So what we are seeing in console, event is not supported. That's why we are not seeing the new button here. Now let's go back in our Lex experience and let's see our component hosted inside a Lightning App Builder page. Let's see it there if we are seeing the new button or not. Because your force colon create record is supported in your Lex experience, so we should be able to see the new button here. Let's clear the cache first, reload the page. Yeah, so we are seeing new button here, but we are not seeing it here. So the system dynamically handling it. So like if a event is not supported somewhere, we are not showing that particular button. So if user, so that user cannot click on that button. So we are not even giving that option to user, because even if we'll show that button here, the event will never get fired and user will be seeing some error on their screen. So let's even let's remove the button itself. So this is how we can handle, the visibility of new button here. And again, let's write a simple line of code to make, to show up a create record dialog once you click on the new button. So let's go to your markup file. First of all, let's use asterisk here. It doesn't matter if you whatever you will use here. The only thing is, if you use hash here, so it will be unbound expression. Now let's give a on click event here and give our event a name. Let's say, first of all, we need to use C here for controller file, C dot create record. So we'll be creating a method create record inside our controller file. Now instead of writing this completely, let me copy paste it from my. So what we are doing this in create record function. Again, we are fetching this create record event, and then again we'll be checking if it is supported or not. Then also what we are doing, we are passing car type ID here. So first of all, we are getting the car type. Do we have a car type attribute here? No, we do not have it yet. So let remove this line of code. Let me remove it unwanted code from here. Let me save it. Let me see if it is working or not, and then I'll explain you the code. So again, inside your Lightning standalone application, you should not be able to see the new button here, but we will be checking it in Lex experience to just to see if the new create record button shows up or not. Okay, so we are seeing this pop-up or this model window to create your new car type event. So what we have did, we have simply use your system event, which is, or we say your Lightning framework event, that is create record, and we are simply defining for which type of record we need to create. We have defined here car, but we should give it car type double underscore c. So that's why if you click on it, so you should be able to see we are creating a new car because we have given different entity type here. So the entity API name is for which object you are creating the record. So this will be the your API name of your object, and then you can simply fire it by using fire method, and then this model window will pop up or appear automatically. So you do not have to write any code to create that model window. The system will take care of it. So this is how you can fire an event uh, on new button. And let's try to create a record as well. So this time now it is showing us car type. Let's give a new car type name as test card type. Let's see if it is working or not. Click on save. See, we have created test card type here. Even if you go in your uh, car types, how would I go there? Again, let me go to car type. You should be able to see 5 record instead of 4 there. So, yeah, so we are seeing our test car type record as well. So this is all about how to handle or how to fire a lightning framework event. So let's come back to our topic to calling a server side action here. So first of all, to call a server side action, we need to create a apex file. So what I've done, I've created a new apex file called car type search. In that, I have written a simple SQL query to retrieve all the card types from your developer org. So what I've done, I'm simply selecting ID colon ID comma name from your object, which is card type double underscore C, and I'm returning this list to our Lightning component. To make this function available to be used in our lightning component, I am using aura enabled annotation as well. So if I'll remove this annotation from here, your code will not be able to find this get card type method, and it will not be able to execute it as well. So this is our server side controller. Now the second step that we need to do is we need to bind the controller with your component. How we can do that? Go to your component again. Go to your component markup. Here what you need to write, controller equals to your controller file name. So your controller file name is your server side controller. So it's car type search. Give this name there. So now what you have done, you have binded your server side controller with your client side controller or your lightning component. So now your lightning component can use all the methods which are annotated with aura enabled inside this apex class. Now the second step is create an action for your server side controller. So what we have done, what we need to do, we need to create an action. So how we can do that? Go to your controller file, or as I told you in our first session, we should always use your our helper file to interact with your apex class. Even though the code I'm going to write in our helper file, you can paste that code in your do init method here as well, or whatever the method that name that you will be giving in your controller file as well. But it's always better to write that code inside your helper method or helper file. So this is the line of code that we need to write. What I'm using here is C. So let's revise our concept about this v value provider in C. So if you use this v as in so this represents your view file, or we can call it value provider as well. So your component markup code will be available inside a v. And if you use this C inside a component markup, so let's say we are using this C multiple time inside your component markup, so this represents your client side controller file. Please listen to this carefully. So if you use your C inside your component markup, that means it's going to call the function from your controller file, client side controller file I mean. And if you use this C inside your controller or client side controller or helper file, that means this C represents your server side controller now. So if you are writing c dot get card types, that means you are referring to this function which is inside your apex class, so get card types. So this is how you are creating a action for this particular method, get card types. uh, so this covers our point number two. Then you can optionally set the action parameter as well. So by parameter I mean you can pass some values to this method. So for now our method is not accepting any attribute, but in few further sessions we'll be creating some functions which will be accepting some values from your component file. So those values you can pass to your action here just by using action dot set params. You'll be seeing that in further sessions, so please do not worry about that. So we'll be skipping this part for today. Optionally set the action parameter, because we do not need to set any parameter for this particular method. Then you need to enqueue your action. Enqueue your action is important to uh, so that your lightning framework pick up your action and fire it. once whenever it's ready. So this is the fourth thing that we are doing NQ action. But what is these line of code that we have written in between? So you are specifying a callback method. So callback method is will be executed once you'll get the response from the server. So your NQ action will fire the event, and then let your server process this request and let it return this value. So once your server return this car type list, your set callback method will get executed. In this you'll get the complete data that will be returned from the server. So in so also you will get a response variable as well, which in which you can check the state of response. So it can be either success or it can be error as well. And they are they are, I think, two more state so you can go ahead and check the lightning documentation for all the possible values of this state parameter. But for today, let's see what we need to do on state, and what we need to do when the response is successful, and what we need to do when the response errored out. So this is how you can get the state by simply using response.get state. If it is success, then what we need to do, we need to set this car types attribute with the results fetched from the server. So how you can do that? Component dot set again, then your attribute name, and then whatever the value that you have got from your server, this is how you can access it. So the data will hold all the value, and you can use this get return value method to get the JSON from this data parameter, and it will simply set all those value in your car types attribute here. And in case any error occurred during this transaction, then what we are going to do, we are showing a alert message here on the screen. Okay, there's some unknown error occurred, please try again, something like that you can show. So okay, it is showing me some error between 8 and 5. Again, what we have done, we did not include the comma between two methods. So simply include a comma here. Now let me save it. Okay, now it's saved. So once you'll save your method, so this get car type method exists inside your helper file. So how you can call it? You can call it from your controller file. And how, when do you want to call it from your controller file? So we want to fetch all those car types from your init event itself. So as soon as your component gets loaded, we want to fetch all the possible values from the server. So in the uh, do init method in your control file, let's call this helper method get car type. So how you can do that? Once you are processing all these uh, once you are doing all these operation, let's remove these lines of code to set your car type statically. Let's remove this, and let's call our helper method. So how you can do that? You need to use your helper reference here, and then dot your helper method name. So what is our helper method name? It's car type get car type. How many parameter it is accepting? It is only accepting component and helper. It can even accept event as well, and all the other attributes that you want to specify, but for now let's give it component and helper only. So how you can pass those value here? So first of all, you need to pass component reference, and then you need to pass helper reference as well. Let's keep the event reference because we do not want to do anything with the event, and save it. So what will be happening now? Once your component will be loading, as soon as the init event gets fired, your component will handle this event, and it will call the doInit method. Inside your doInit method, you are calling this helper method called get car type, and this car type method is going, what it's going to do, once it will receive the success response from server, it's setting the value of car types attribute to the values returned from the server. That's what we are doing. Let's test this if it is working fine or not. Hopefully we should not see an error, but we did see. Response is not defined. You might just need to refresh it. Why we are seeing this error? It is saying your response is not defined. So we have done a silly mistake. So instead of response, we should use data here. That's it. I think now we should be, because again your data is holding the complete value returned from the server, so it should hold the state as well. And then let me try it. Yeah, now it's working. And again, what we are seeing five objects, but we are not seeing uh, the values here, the actual values that are being returned from the server. So why we are seeing like that? So let us go back in our server side controller here, and let's see what we are returning here. So we are returning car type list here. And what we are doing inside this one. So let me check. Where is, okay, this is our developer console. So here we are returning the list of car types, but what our component is holding, it is holding the list of string type. So we need to make sure your component holds the list of car type here. So you can make it like this: car type double underscore C. So now your car type attribute will hold the list of car types. And what you want to display inside options value here. So instead of displaying the object, you want to display the name here. How you can do that? You can access the name property that we are fetching from the server. So we are fetching ID and name here. So in value you can give ID as an attribute, or you can access ID at, parameter here, or id property here. And in your text you can include name property here, and then save it again. So now what we are doing, your car type will hold your car type object list. In this object we will be iterating through the complete list, and we will be getting one object at a time. And in that object we are fetching the id as well and name as well. So id we are giving it as value, and text or the label will be giving as name. And then again uh, retry. Yeah, so now we are getting the name here, because what we have done, we have simply used the name property to display as text in your option values here. So this is how you can call a server side controller, and this is how you can retrieve the value from a server side controller. Any questions so far? There should be some questions. It's not a easy concept. You guys understood it completely. Okay, then let's move forward with our next topic. So that is inheritance in Lightning component. So what does inheritance mean? Again, if you check any other programming language, they all use this inheritance concept. So inheritance is simply is being used to make your code more usable, or more reusable. So if you inherit a component or inherit another component, so the inherited component will have all the attributes, body, event, and helper method of your base method. So you do not have to create all those method and events and all those markup again in your in your sub component. So that's why inheritance is very useful when when you need to write your code, or when you need to use some functionality again and again. So again, so this is a simple definition of inheritance. So if you inherit a component inside a lightning framework, so it will allow you to inherit the parent component's attribute, body, body attributes, events, helper, and client side controller as well. So these all things you can inherit when you inherit a component. Let me check it now. Okay, now inheritance and lightning component, how can you use it? How can you make your lightning component available uh, to be inherited by other component? So for that we have an attribute called extensible. You have to make it true. By default it is false, so you have to explicitly make it true. Once you will make it true, your component can be extended by another component. So this extensible equals to make your component as a parent component, and it can be uh, extended by other component as well. So how you can extend it? Using extends attribute or extend keyword. So this is the first line will show you how to make it available as a parent component, and the second line is showing how to use your parent component or your base component inside your sub components. So creating a base lightning component. So now in our further sessions, what we are going to do, we are going to make lot many server side calls, and then again every time we need to write this line of code to call your server side controller and then fetch the response and everything. So why do we need to write these line of code every time? Why can we not make a generic method and then we pass the value to that generic method, that generic method process everything and then return us the values? So that's when we will create a base component, and in that base component we'll be creating a helper file, and in that helper file we'll be writing a generic method to call your server side controller, and that method will return the values as well. So first of all, first thing first, so this is saying like creating a base lightning component. So base lightning component, we do not have to do anything else. Simply go to file, new, and lightning component. That's it. This is how you create a lightning component. What extra that you need to do, you need to make it extensible equals to true. Here I'm saying abstract equals to true, but you need to make it extensible equals to true as well. Let me copy the keyword. Do you guys have any questions? What I've done, I have made this base component extensible equals to true. And what am I doing with the abstract keyword? So it's similar to your abstract class. So in your base component, I have two helper methods. One is your call server, which is our generic method to call server side controller, and we have another method to show toast. We'll be using this show toast method in further session. Let's not use it today, but let's see the code of call server method. Again, what it is accepting as parameter, it is accepting component, your method name, this method will have your server side method name. So we have our server side method name as get car type, so your this parameter method will have the value as get car type if you'll call it from a base lightning component. Then it will have a callback function. So similar to this function that we have implemented here, this callback function, it will have that callback function as well. And then it will have params as well. So we did not pass any parameters today, but in our further session we'll be calling the server side controller. We'll be creating certain methods that will be accepting the attributes or the parameters from your client side controller as well. So those can also be handled in our generic call server method. So what it will check, if you have defined any params, if the param value is there. If it is not undefined, then it will set the action params as well by simply setting set params. And it's creating a action by using the method name. So it's very, if you compare it with your helper file here, it's very similar to this one. To create an action, you need to define the uh, method name here, server side method name here. So here also we are doing the same thing. We are defining the server side method name here, and we are using the same code here, component dot get method name. And to set the params, again we will be using the set params method. After that, we are setting a set callback. In this callback, again we'll be using the callback uh, provided as a attribute here. So what we are doing, callback dot call. So this is the generic method that we are creating. What it will do, it will set the callback parameter here by using response dot get at return value. You do not have to understand much of this code if you are not getting everything. But what you can do, you can simply go and compare this method with your normal helper function here that we are used to call the server side action. Everything that we have done here is simply being done there as well, but in more generic way so that it can be used anywhere. So again, similar to our helper function here, we are getting the response. We are checking if the response state is success or error. If it is success, we are providing some value to your callback function that will be passed from your base component. If it is error, then again we are showing unknown error message here. That is all we are doing in our base helper method. And how to call it from your sub component that we'll be seeing in our next lab exercise. But please let me know if you have any questions so far. Is anybody there on the hangout? Yeah, I do see people. So you have understood this inheritance concept, right? Why do we use extensible keyword? Why do we use extend keyword? So we have used the extensible keyword. Now how to inherit this base component inside your child component? What you can do? Go to your component markup here, and then use extend keyword or extend attribute here. Extends, and then give your base component name here. So which is base. Where is it? I think it will be C colon base. Like that. Where is that? Yeah. Give this as base here. So this is how you can, access your base component inside uh, your sub component. So now you have extended the base component here. Now what happened in the back end? Now your car search form component holds all the attributes and events of your base component as well. So you can simply go ahead in your helper file, and instead of writing these lines of code, what you can do, you can simply where's- yeah, what you can do, you can simply call your server side controller by using your helper file from your base helper. How you can do that? So let me show you the line of code that can be used to do that. Okay, so now what I'm doing, we'll be commenting this code, so which was fetching the value from our car type search server side controller. What we are doing, instead of this line of code, we are using our base helper file here, and our base helper file does have a method called call server. So we'll be calling this call server method from our uh, sub helper method or sub components helper method. So how you can do that? You can again use this helper reference. Then you can simply use the method name which is there in your base component. The name of the method is call server. Again, you need to provide your component reference because it is accepting a component reference. Then second parameter is method. So you can give the parameter name as c dot get car types, which is similar to our previous code. Then whatever we have written in our set callback, you can also define what you want to do once you will get the response from server. So what we want to do, we want to submit, we want to set the value of car types uh, to the value whatever we are getting from the server. So this is how you can do it. And let's comment out this code and use this new code to call the server side action. Let me see if it is working or not. Hopefully it should work. So again, see, we did not see any difference. Your code is working as it is, but instead of using your controllers helper method, we are using the base components helper method here, and this is how you can call it. So now you have changed your line, maybe 8 or 9 lines of code to your maybe 2 or 3 lines of code now, and this is how you can call each and every server side method by using your base helper. So we'll be extending this base helper in every component that we'll be developing in further sessions, and this is how we'll be calling our server side controller. Any questions so far?
Hey Manish, the parent class, do we need to give extensible and abstract both, or
No, no, you can remove abstract, I guess. Let me just try to remove it. You can remove it.
I mean, if we give abstract equal to true, like, is there any additional features, or like we can
Yeah,
access more?
what I think, like if you give it abstract, that you must uh, if there is any function inside your base component, then you must give the definition to those method. It should be similar to your abstract class, where you can declare the function, but the bodies can be defined in the sub component or sub classes. So it should be similar to that one, but you can try and explore that one. But to make your component extendable, you need to use extensible here.
Okay, yeah. But extensible is required in order to extend in other components, but the
Yeah,
abstract is not required.
yeah, abstract is not required.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me just refresh it again, and let's see if it is working or not. Okay, so even we have removed the abstract keyword here, we are still seeing the values from the server. Yeah, so now again there are few confusing terms that we are using, that is super, sub, parent and child. So when should we use the super keyword, when should we use this sub term and parent and child? So in lightning component, what we have done, we can include other components as well inside a component. So till now we only have one component, that is car search form component. But in future, if we'll be including another component inside a component. So for now, let's say if you have included a component in our lightning application, rent a car application, in similar way we will be using another component markup inside a component markup as well. So if you do it in such a way, let's say your car search forum car search form component also has another component named as car search form 1. So that will make your car search form component. So let me try to explain what I'm trying to say here. So let's assume that you have another component named as car search form one component. You can include that method here. Right now I'm getting the error because there is no such component called car search form when. So if you do it in such a way, your car search form will become the parent component, and your car search form one will become the child component. So this is when we should use the parent child uh, terms here. But if you use the inheritance, so that we have just done, so we have extended the base component inside a sub component. So that's when what you need to which terms you need to use. Your base component should be a super component, or you can call it base component. And the components which are extending this base component should be your uh, sub component, or yeah, they should be your subcomponent. So this is what I'm trying to say in this slide. Your super component is the base components which is being extended using inheritance by subcomponents. So let's say if a b component b extends component a, that means a is the super component and b is your subcomponent. Similar to that, if you are using your parent component can have multiple child components as well in its markup. So here we are talking about body your component markup. We are not talking about inheritance here. So if the your component includes multiple child components, then we can say like this is the parent component and these are the child components which are included in your parent components markup. This exercise we have already done using your base lighting component. We have just done it uh, in our last lab exercise. So I think we have completed all the lab exercise for today. Please guys do let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, so Anil, so what I'm trying to say, this is the same concept. So this is you can relate it to your abstract class. So if you make your super component as abstract equals to true, your child component should give a definition to the methods which are there in your parent component, or your super component, I'm sorry. So if you'll make it abstract equals to true, it's similar to your abstract class in Java. I hope it
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Manish.
yeah. No further questions. Okay. So these are the today's assignment for you. First of all, you need to create your server side controller file, car type search. similar to the one that I have created. You need to give a function name called get car types in that controller file. Then what you need to do, you need to use your client side control to call your server side controller file. If you are able to successfully do that, then use the inheritance to call the same method again, similar to the way we have done it using base component. So you need to create a base component, and you need to write a generic method similar in a similar way that the way I have done it. Not only this call server method, if your application or business case has if you need certain operation to be done multiple times, so instead of writing those line of code inside your sub component, you should always write those in your super component and extend your super component inside your base component or inside your sub components. So let's say one quick example I can give you is, let's say you want to fetch the session ID before doing any CRUD operation. So uh, writing the code to fetch the session ID inside your sub component will not be a good idea. You can, because you need to write it every time whenever you will make a server side call. So either you can write it inside your helper file, so to be called from multiple places inside your controller file, but that again will limit the accessibility to your same component bundle. But if you write it in a base component, then you can extend it inside your child components as well. So it will be like, write it once and use it in multiple components, not only the same component bundle. You can use it in multiple component bundles as well, as long as you extend the base component. And again, so like, if you have any questions, so please do ask them, have them cleared out before our next week session, because from the next week we'll be completing we'll try to complete the rent a car application, or if not, then let's complete it at least by 80%, so that we'll have to we can explore lightning quick action and lightning out as well in our third week session. So this is a wrap up of week one. So let's review what we have done in week one. We have learned about basics of Lightning Component Framework and Salesforce ecosystem. We have seen the component bundle files and the uses of each file. We have seen the uses of Lightning App Builder to create your record home pages, your application pages, and also we have created a standalone Lightning application as well. We have seen one difference between those as well. Let's see, like, we have seen like create a force colon create record is not supported in your standalone Lightning application, but it is supported in your Lex experience. Then we have seen how to make your component more dynamic using attributes. We have also seen your controller.js and helper.js file to set the value inside your attributes. And we have seen user events, which are like on click, on mouse move, on change, these events. And along with that, we have seen the system events as well, which are init and render events. We have used our server side controller as well to get the data from server, and we have used the inheritance to call your server side controller. Or this is not the only use of inheritance. You can use it whenever you need to make your code more reusable. So this is a wrap up of week one. Let's see a sneak peek of week two as well. uh, so we'll be learning about our component events and application events. So till now, what we have learned, we have seen user events, we have seen system events, but now we'll be seeing more about your component event and application event, so which will be used to pass the values between different components. Since till now we have only created one component, so maybe you will not be able to get the clear picture why we'll be needing these events. But once we'll start developing our application, you will be seeing the need of these events. We'll be seeing oracle and method as well. So the oracle and using oracle and method, you can call your child components method from your parent component methods or parent component controller. Then we'll be seeing about Lightning Data Services as well. Please do check out about Lightning Data Services. This is a very interesting topic. You can even retrieve the data from server without even writing your Apex controller. So this is very easy to do CRUD operation on your data if you are doing it on a single record. So you can get a single record from server. You can write, read, or update or delete the data using Lightning Data Services, and you do not have to write any Apex controller or server side controller for this one. Along with that, we'll be covering few more topics. So I think I can take the questions if you have any. So if nobody has questions, so I think we can wrap up today's session as well. We are already over 40 minutes. It was supposed to be, a long session because we are covering some main topics of Lightning Component Framework. But uh, during weekend, please complete all these exercises, and along with our rent a car application, come up with your own ideas, try to implement those, and you can post the screenshot on the sfdcfacts.com as well, so that it will give others some working scenario or some practice scenario to implement the Lightning component. So you can go to this right post section here, and you can attach the image of your application that you have created. You can give writes the definition, description about your application, submit it. So I'll receive your post, and then I'll be making them available for all the users here. So do practice as much as you can. So I'll see you guys in next week